As a coach, you always know there's that line of demarcation of when a young player who's young and a knucklehead like all young people are. But you hope they reach that maturity at 27, 28, 29, where you realize either they're going to get it or they don't. And some don't, a lot don't. And you knew whatever perspectives Randy brought to it that there was going to be a maturation. And I think we've seen that maturation. Obviously going to a place like New England with a Tom Brady has helped that. I think we're seeing the player that Randy Moss indeed can be, instead of labeling him in certain ways when indeed some of his circumstances maybe were to account for some of the perceptions of Randy. If I'm not mistaken, Randy only had about 45 catches that year. I can't tell you how many pass interference penalties he had and how teams, because of him, so rolled to account for Randy Moss, even though he only had these 45 catches, that Jake Reed, Chris Carter, Robert Smith, Leroy Horde, that cast of characters we had big years because everybody had to account for Randy Moss. You know, it begins with ability. It has to. All production stems from, or all leadership stems from production. But it doesn't need necessarily elite ability. It doesn't mean that they somehow capture, have that right combination of physical tools. They may not be elite in each of these aspects, but for some reason, the sum of the parts, or the whole, is greater than the sum of the parts. And there's a competitiveness, a professionalism. The really greats that I've been around, and I've been fortunate to be around a couple, really do test themselves against a different standard. It's one thing to say, I want to be the best of all time, okay? It's cliche. But there's a handful that's very real. One, because they have that potential, where, 99% of the people you talk to don't. But that they have the potential for that. They have the physical skills, and they understand all I need to do is match the drive and the focus. And it may come across differently with some. Some are dismissive of it. Some maybe don't articulate it quite as well in this type of setting. But there's that common quality that being the greatest of all time is something very, very real to them.